Who can sue me? The person injured can sue you. This includes someone in the car with the person you overserved. This also includes innocent bystanders who were harmed. The family of the person injured can sue you. The person's parents, children, stepchildren, and/or spouse can all sue you. Each can claim his or her own damages. Sometimes the person you overserved can sue you, particularly if that person was a minor. If there's a death, then the dead person's spouse, children, parents, but not siblings, can sue you. Also, the executor or administrator of the dead person's estate may sue you as well. What types of damages will I have to pay? Well, you'd have to pay for the injured person's pain and suffering, both the suffering already experienced and to be experienced in the future. The injured person's lost earnings. If the person died, that would be that person's projected lost earnings over his or her lifetime. You might have to pay for the injured person's medical and hospital expenses, even if that person had insurance. You could be sued for the loss of certain relationships. If a parent died, the child can sue you for losing out on having a mom or a dad. If a child died, the parent can sue you for losing out on having a child. If a spouse died, the spouse can sue you for losing out on having a spouse. How much money are we talking? In Taylor County, a family was awarded a $1.25 million structured settlement for the death of a family member who was traveling on his motorcycle when he was hit and killed by a man who had been consuming alcohol in a licensed premises. The verdict in a Midland, Texas restaurant bar awarded $7.5 million to the families that lost two family members to a drunk driver who had been overserved. The overservice was actually admitted to by the bartender. A Texas family settled out of court for an undisclosed settlement that was in the millions of dollars for the injury sustained by their child when the family was stopped at a red light and a drunk driver smashed into them. The driver had a BAC that was 3 times over the limit. A Texas family of 5 was awarded $35 million for their injury sustained from a drunk driving accident caused by a man who had consumed alcohol for many hours at a private function. Even though he was showing signs of intoxication, he was able to purchase a 12-pack of beer at a local convenience store, and upon entering his vehicle, he opened a can of beer. When he left the store and entered the roadway, he made it approximately a mile and a half before his pickup crossed the center line and slammed head-on to the family's vehicle, causing serious injury to each of them. Criminal consequences equals criminal liability. Serving to a minor in Texas is a Class A misdemeanor, punishable by a fine not to exceed $4,000, confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, or both the fine and the jail time. Serving to someone in Texas who is a habitual drunkard, is intoxicated, or insane is punishable by a $100 to $500 fine and confinement in jail for not more than 1 year, or both the fine and confinement. In bad enough circumstances, you can be charged and convicted of criminal manslaughter. What is manslaughter? A person commits an offense if he recklessly causes the death of an individual. This actually happened in Kansas in 2007, where a man was charged and convicted by a jury of manslaughter for overserving an obviously intoxicated patron who eventually died of alcohol poisoning. The man was sentenced to 4 years in prison. In Texas, the punishment for manslaughter is a second-degree felony, 2 to 20 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. The punishment also includes the loss of civil rights, like the right to carry a firearm and the right to vote.